what's the point of adult education and what should it mostly do? I don't know whether there's sort of thoughts. What do people think what it should mostly do? What would you, if you were designing an adult education system, what would you think? What
It should equip people.
Equip people for
skills to progress in their chosen
career and stuff like
career pathway, bit of basic skill around the house, whatever. That's what it should do. Equip the individual.
Other thoughts?
I kind of feel that there needs to be that step before that in terms of allowing people space to start thinking critically and
just to sort of get going a bit.
You're not allowed to question anything, are you? And the sort of experiences that I can think about when I started working for the Open University like 15 years ago, the change in terms of the way people think, and it's almost like they've not had that permission to meet other adults who are questioning things and then have that debate.
Yeah.
Adult education should enable people to create opportunities for themselves, whether that be in employment or self-expression or understanding.
Any others? Some big things in there. And those sorts of things, if you're asking people, you typically get a sense of those responses. I just thought I'd start to tell you a little bit about what it actually does, and again I'll tell you that I'm looking in particular about the further education system in the UK, and the further education system as it applies to adults, so 19 plus. So in the funding stream, I recently did some of this, conducted some of this research myself. There's a series of different funding streams. Ooh, wrong button. There's a series of different funding streams: learner responsive, apprenticeships, university for industry, train to gain, adult safeguarded learning, and so on. I'm not going to go into the details of those. What I just want you to notice is this number down here: 4,837,000 people, 100 took part in starters took part in adult education in the year 2008-9. Adult education figures are always way behind where you actually are at that time, so it'd probably be at about 9-10 at the minute, but sort of 10-11 wouldn't be available for a couple of years type of thing, so it just takes that long to get the stats through the system. But about 4,837,000 starters will have been involved. So it's a massive area of work. That's a huge proportion of the population involved in adult learning. And there's a range of things that people study. I'm just going to show you some of them and start to sort of help to construct my argument. And this is GCSEs for adults. Okay, so it's your O-level style qualification. And you've got a sort of numbers down at the bottom. Bear in mind we've got 4 million starters. On GCSEs we have in 2006-07 about, there's me thing there, 40,000 starters, then going down to 35 and plateauing at 35, about 110,000 over 3 years. Remember we've got 4 million in 1 year in that bit. And then some of the subjects are quite interesting. That's a sort of, I think these are subjects over 500 enrolments in those years. And I suppose one of the things to say is there's not that many, is there?
Presumably these are all subjects that are publicly funded.
Yeah.
So is your question, what should public funding, what adult education should public funding cover, or is it about what is the point for the learners of any adult education? Because those are two slightly different questions.
They are, and I think I probably asked both, actually.
There's another question as well, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Because if I'm an adult learner, I think, well, what a restricted choice.
Yes.
Half the stuff I'd like to do is not there.
It's not there, no. And this, I think, is even clearer on some of these things. This is the table of A-levels that are available. I'm really rather concerned about this. It's the sorts of things that you might expect, some of the sciences, English, some of the languages, English language.
But I've done A-level Spanish a couple of years ago, and it was extremely hard to find anywhere to do it. And so I did the AS, and I now understand why my students think like that. All right, but I did the AS, and the college where I was doing it was giving it up because they were no longer funded to do it, but they had to do the A
because they've done the AS.
Because they've done the AS. But
Yeah.
after that, it's not possible.
Yeah.
So now in Manchester, I think it's impossible to do some of these A-levels.
Yeah,
I don't know
it
where
is.
you do it. You might have to go
Yeah.
to school or do it as some kind of
Well,
correspondence
look at
course.
this. Look at it. You're quite right, and you're making the point for me. Thank you. That's
Yeah, sorry, but that was
no,
my
it's all right. That's fine.
experience.
No, that's perfectly
And
right. That's exactly what I was going on to say.
And it was also a shockingly run course because they obviously didn't think they would recruit and they hadn't got any tutors, and they obviously went out and found somebody in Asda who could speak Spanish and said, would you like to come and teach a course? Seriously.
Look
Yeah.
at this. Look at this. The around things like sociology. Here's your numbers in 0607, 0708. So it's 1,617, 1,564, 1,239. Look at government and
Yeah.
politics. 350 starters nationally. 354 the next year. 362. Economics 273.
Is this across the-
288.
Is this the whole country?
Yeah, 234. The geography, the 200. Look at history. 842, 767 and 672. And then look at the numbers on A levels. 32,000 in 2006-07. 0708 is 28,000. 0809 is 22,000. What you're seeing is about I can't remember what the figures were now. I can't do that in my head. It's about a 30% decline over the 3 years, something around that, and continuing to go.
I can't remember if it was on an earlier slide. I was just, it reminded me of talking to a student who was career planning, and it's kind of example about the market's not even working for itself in that she wanted to do biology, but she could only do human biology because it's more popular.
Yeah.
And it's like that restricts the career options radically, and it's like, well, where can she, and we could at the time couldn't find it anywhere.
No.
My son's doing an apprenticeship in joinery, and he wanted to do as well, and I told him it was a very sensible thing to do an A level. Couldn't be done.
No.
Wasn't available. Sorry.
Well, I'm interested. I think you're really right to focus on government and politics, because it seems to me that there is a very clear rationale why citizens should pay through their taxes for people to study government and politics.
Even the government thinks so, just doesn't do it.
Well, and that seems to me interesting in terms of your earlier question about why do adult education. Because if we ask why do government and politics, it's not about individuals. It's not about individual alone achieving something. It's about our performance as a political society.
Yeah. I think that's that whole point around adult education, it seems, around adult A levels. They are, they're regarded as still a very significant Premier League sort of qualification for people to do, and particularly to access HE. And yet the decline in them is just absolutely staggering, and most people don't know it's happening. They don't know that in your city you can't get an A level to be done. In Liverpool there was one centre. I looked in Manchester last night. Manchester College does some A levels, but it's all languages. It's all foreign languages.
Can I ask a question, please? Do you think it's an air of despondency with the whole system that some of the adults will want to participate in?
I do too.
I think this lady's just mentioned how what she might want to do is not even on offer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's an air of despondency, even with myself. Do you know what I mean? I want to go back into education, and I've been through the education system. My first time around wasn't particularly good.
No.
Do you know what I mean? But it's given me a platform to actually speak.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'd want to encourage all adults to go and get, a platform where they can speak or so, or whatever it is they do. And then the area of despondency kind of, there's a self-belief or there's a personal development that's grown. So regardless of all any autocratic kind of approach, that person is built in themselves a mechanism that they can actually continue and get on with life. Because after the autocratic approach, they even could take a walk around here, or the people who are in the local area, what go and access adult education. I hope I've not rambled.
Not too much. That's but exactly right, and I do think some of that, and I'll come back to some of those points about how we might pick up that. These are MVQs. I don't think you can read these, but sorry, wrong one. Back again. MVQs. What we seem to have there, for example, here are the big ones. Look, up here is MVQ in health and social care. Accounting is always quite a big one in further education, and that is one of the few areas where you might end up in actually being in a high-paid employment, although there's plenty of low-paid employment in accounting too. IT users, hairdressing, this one, children's learning and development, beauty therapy, MVQ in teaching assistants, customer service, administration, professional cookery. So those are our main vocational qualifications. Remember, colleagues, for a high skill, high knowledge economy, not. Other provision volumes, there's a huge part of the FE sector called other provision, which is not NVQs, it's not apprenticeships and that, and it's the types of things that organisations like WEA do. But look at the numbers in here. So, and the big story is this. Oh, no, it's not. Back. Get on. The big story is these columns, which are preparation for life and work, better known to most of us as basic skills or skills for life. And when you then look at these other ones, we've got health and public services and care, ICT again, arts, media and publishing making an entrance there, which is quite common for adults to do an awful lot of arts courses, language, literature and culture, and then you start to get into some quite small areas of work. When I look at that big number, it's overwhelmingly made up of 3 subjects: ESOL, basic literacy and numeracy, and collectively, over the years 2006 to 2009, they account for 40% of the country's FE product. I think that balance is out of kilter with our needs, and we are extraordinarily supportive of trying to develop skills for life for people and for people to be able to participate. But 40% of the country's FE provision located on that, or of FE starters located on that, certainly is worth a question. It's worth a question. These are apprenticeships. Look at the apprenticeships, and by gender. So the blue are female, and the apprenticeships up here are hairdressing, customer services, business administration. The men have construction, vehicle maintenance and repair, engineering, and then also some hospitality, catering, and customer services, and so on. What you study as an apprentice is gendered. It is linked to your. What you study as an apprentice is gendered, and obviously, if you look at, you don't need me to tell you, but if you think about things like the type of areas that people are studying, it is also low pay in the lower pay. There will be plenty of men who are earning low pay at these levels. Interesting that men and women are approximately the same in numbers of apprenticeships at over that period, but the subjects are what I'm interested in you thinking about, and the gendering of them. Okay.